everyone, and welcome to this week's edition of the Comic Shop Adventures, my weekly excursion where I leave the homestead here at Athletic Geek HQ in search of my bounty of comics, graphic novels, action figures, collectibles, and all things in between. First things first, time to talk about what stood out from last week's pull list, and well, seeing as how it's only 4 books, I mean, they were all pretty decent. The Detective was very good. Detective was probably the one that stood out the most to me. Even not being written by Peter Tomasi, it was just a really good story of Bruce and, you know, kind of how even Batman makes mistakes and how he rectifies those mistakes and his struggle with when he does make a mistake. And I feel like it's a very, you know, even though Batman is kind of the epitome of relatable because he is like all of us, he has no superpowers, sometimes they kind of lose sight of Batman and his relatability. And I feel like this kind of brought back down to that level that a lot of people would like for Batman to be on. So, you know, they were all 4 very good, but this is the one that really stood out for me. And yeah, just while I do want Peter Tomasi back on Detective Comics, this was a nice story, and I really enjoyed it. So I will see you when I get back here to the homestead with this week's bounty. Hey everyone, I am back here at the homestead right here at Athletic Geek HQ. Got a very, very large bounty, but before we get into that, I just wanted to point out something that I forgot to point out before the adventure began. Superman was a really, really good book last week as well. There was kind of a big ending. You know, they were hyping up how everything would change with this ending, and they weren't lying. And it was done in a very, very good way. It wasn't done in a cheap publicity stunt kind of way, at least in my opinion. And I did really enjoy that. And I just forgot to mention that before we start on the adventure today. And I feel bad about that. So I wanted to make sure and mention it now that I'm back here at Athletic Geek HQ. You should probably pick up that book if you haven't already, if your local comic shop still has some. Yeah. Both that and Detective Comics. But let's get into this very, very large bounty this week. Starting off in the world of Marvel, we have Avengers number 28. It is the second part of the new story arc. Really, really good book, and it's keeping the momentum going that it had, and I've enjoyed it. We'll just see if it continues. Avengers number 28. From there, we go to King Thor number 4. This is the last chapter in the Jason Aaron saga with the character of Thor. From everything that this man has done for this character, just gonna be sad to see all this come to an end. But it was a hell of a run, and I'm glad I could. He got me into liking Thor. His writing is superb, and while I've never disliked Thor, he was never one of my favorites. I've never really subscribed to a Thor book until Jason Aaron came along. So seeing the end of this run will be kind of bittersweet, but it's still something that you know, all good things must come to an end, and unfortunately, this is the end for Jason Aaron Thor. But it was a hell of a run. King Thor number 4. From there, we go to Daredevil number 15. This is part 5 of the Through Hell story arc, and I didn't really dig last issue that much, but you know, still not a bad run. Still enjoyed the run so far. We'll see. You know, not everything's a home run, so we'll see what happens. Daredevil number 15. From there we go to Excalibur number 4. It's probably my favorite new X-Men, new mutant title, whatever you want to call it. Really like the focus that they have on Psylocke. Really making me like her even more as a character, not just the cool, awesome, badass girl that I played as on X-Men Mutant Apocalypse. Really making her a pretty awesome fucking character, and I really enjoy it, and I hope I continue to enjoy it. Excalibur number 4. From there, we go to Marauders, number 4. And yeah, I've enjoyed this book too. It's probably the least favorite of all of them that have been on my pull list, but still a book that I very much enjoy. I like the cast that they have in this particular book, and I think the character interactions are fun. Just maybe not. I kind of have I have a certain standard for Jerry Dugan, and while it's still very good, it's just not as good as previous Jerry Dugan work that I've been reading. But that doesn't necessarily mean it's bad. It just means that it's not the one that I like as much. As a kid, I liked Michael Jordan, Scottie Pippen, and Dennis Rodman. But probably out of the 3 of them, I like Dennis Rodman the least. That's not to say I dislike Dennis Rodman. I just didn't like him as much as Pippen and Michael Jordan. So that's kind of with the X-Men titles. That's kind of how I feel about Marauders. But still a good book. Still something that if you're an X-Men fan that you should be picking up. Marauders, number 4. And we now enter the world of DC, and we have Doomsday Clock, number 12. I know, it's over. I've been reading this book for around 3 years, damn near 3 years. And just due to delays and everything else, it's finally coming to a close. It's something that if it were coming out on a more consistent basis, I probably would have appreciated it more. Thankfully, I have the rest of the issues, so I could go back and reread all of them and then kind of make a determination on whether or not I really liked it or not. I mean, I liked the story, but just when I kind of get into it, it would go away for so long, I'd forget about it. And, it's just kind of out of sight, out of mind. And that's kind of how I feel about this could be, I could go back and reread this and, think it's the greatest thing I've ever read in my life. It is the Watchmen entering the main DC universe, which should be the greatest thing that ever happened, depending on your taste. Some people have thought just the very idea of putting the Watchmen with other DC heroes is sacrilege, but it's something that I thought I would really enjoy. And to be fair, I have enjoyed it when I read it. But when you forget about it, it's hard. It's hard to go a long time without reading something and then pick it up with the same enthusiasm for me. So this book has suffered because of that, and well, we'll just see. We'll just see if it goes out and really has something that stays with me, or if I need to go back and reread all of them, or what. But either way, Doomsday Clock, number 12. From there, we go to Flash Forward, number 4. I love Wally West. I've thought this has been an okay little miniseries so far, and I'm mainly reading it just because I like Wally West, and I like this version of Wally West. That's not to say the other versions of Wally West have been bad whatsoever. This is just kind of the Wally that I read, 20 years ago whenever I was reading Flash comics. So I like this version of Wally West, and anything that can give me some Wally West, I'm all for it. Flash Forward, number 4. And from there, we go to Superman's pal, Jimmy Olsen, number 6. The several mini little small stories they have throughout each issue. Some people like that, some people don't. I'm very much looking forward to this storyline that involves him. It says he pranks the Dark Knight. I'd like to see what that's all about. Sometimes the cover tease isn't always what happens in the main issue, but we will see. And if it is the case, I'm very much looking forward to reading it. Superman's pal, Jimmy Olsen, number 6. I think we're only about halfway done. Next up is Batman number 85, and this time I am for sure because it says right there, epic final finale, the finale of the City of Bane story arc. This has been some of Tom King's best work since he's taken over Batman, but there's always been an issue with the conclusions and quite a bit of his story arcs, especially the glaring one with the wedding. We're going to see if in my opinion, if Tom King can knock it out of the park with this, he will redeem himself for, and just to me, I'm not saying he's a bad writer, hasn't, written great things since then. He would have redeemed himself for the letdown in the whole wedding story. If he can, because this has been a good, well-told story so far in the City of Bane, and if it ends on a high note, I can kind of, I will not really harbor any like negative feelings towards Tom King. That might be a little harsh to say because I don't really have any super negative feelings towards him, but maybe I won't feel as much trepidation towards Tom King's work if he can really knock it out of the park with this one. So we'll see what happens. Batman number 85. From there we go to Nightwing number 67. And it says Nightwing Dick Grayson's the new Talon. Is he the new Talon? Well, we'll find out. Not really digging this. I'm just kind of hoping it gets back to the Nightwing I want it to. I really don't want to have to cut it because I'm a Nightwing fanboy. I'll fully admit it. But we'll see. We will see. Because I have not been digging this run so far. It's had some good spots in it. It's not been completely terrible, but I just haven't been into it. And, I'd hate for when it comes to time to trim the fat on the pull list to have to do without Dick Grayson because I love that character. But if they keep putting him in a way that I don't want to read him, I'm not going to have a choice. Nightwing number 67. From there we go to Batman and Superman number 5. I just really thought this has been a good, really fun book. I've liked Joshua Williamson. I think I actually am beginning to like this book more than The Flash. And I still love the Flash book, don't get me wrong. But I'm starting to really just like his take on both these characters. I'm liking the sort of villains and the sort of supporting cast that he's using in this book. It's always... A lot of people have written, World's Finest or Batman Superman books really well. So, but I could see, as someone who isn't a writer, from the outside looking in, I could see how that could maybe be difficult to think of what kind of problem is needed for Batman and Superman and not the rest of the Justice League. Or what could Superman just not stop on his own? Why does he need Batman? So, the fact that they found a threat that is kind of in that wheelhouse, to me, that's just good writing, and that's a testament to how good of a writer he is. Love the book so far, and hopefully it continues. Batman Superman number 5. Oh, we come into the home stretch with Justice League number 38, Lex Luthor's Last Stand? Question mark? Yeah, it's been really an epic story being told by Scott Snyder, and really I'm a Scott Snyder fan through and through, and this has been some of, maybe not as good as Batman, but right up there with it. Really enjoyed everything they've been doing with the Justice League since the year the villain has begun, and yeah. I don't know if this is the conclusion or if this is kind of, the home stretch of this story arc, but definitely looking forward to reading it because I've never been disappointed by a Scott Snyder Justice League book since he's taken over. Justice League number 38. And from there we go to Legion of Superheroes number 2. I really liked the first book. I thought Bendis, this is kind of more what I know Brian Michael Bendis for. And, seeing him, he's given me a reason to, as of now, care about a lot of characters that I was normally not very familiar with. I'm vaguely familiar with the Legion, but it's not really it's not something that's like my go-to book. I have some Legion over here on the bookshelf that I have yet to read. But, I enjoyed issue 1, and, we'll see if this continues to be part of my pull list as the book progresses. Legion of Superheroes, number 2. And to finally come to the end of this very, very large bounty, we have Suicide Squad, number 1, and you know, I just thought, I saw it on the shelf. I thought I'd give it a shot. We'll see if it's another good team book. You know, I haven't read a whole hell of a lot of Suicide Squad in my life. I've read some old stuff, and, you know, I really liked how they used the Suicide Squad in the Arrowverse, but not really read a whole lot of the comics. You know, starting off with the number 1. If I like it, it'll be part of the pull list. If I don't, yeah, either hold on to it or it'll be part of a giveaway for some of the wrestling contests we do. Who knows? But came out this week. You never know what could be a hit. You know, I kick myself every day for not jumping on the Mr. Miracle bandwagon. So, you know, well, I don't know if this will live up to what I've heard about Mr. Miracle, but we'll see. Said the worst thing that could happen is I'm out $5 that I gave to a comic shop that I love, and if that's the worst case scenario, then hey, nothing really worth getting upset about. Suicide Squad, number 1. And that is it for me this week. Let me know what you picked up at your local comic shop in the comments section below. If you enjoyed this video, please like it, share it, subscribe for more content, not just from the world of comic books, but videos from the world of anime, gaming, pro wrestling, and all things geek culture. For more content, please go like my Facebook page at facebook.com/athleticgeek89. There you will find every Thursday my Collection Comic of the Week blog. But other than that, I'm out. Y'all be cool. Later.